Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra, with me Shail Bhatnagar, and this is Market Today. We're on the onset of another new week. Remember, last week we've ended on a bearish note, especially on Friday, which actually saw a massive sell-off in the Indian equity markets, with the Sensex dropping more than 1,000 points and both the indices dropping by over 1% each. In fact, this was also when the Nifty has reported its first weekly loss in the last 4 weeks as well. Friday was also the first instance since August of 23rd when the Nifty closed below the mark of 25,000 as well. We've also seen the Nifty Bank on Friday particularly leading the sharp losses, falling by over 1,000 points, with the PSU banking index falling by nearly 4% as well. And now brokerages are also turning cautious on the lenders. Now, as we move into a new day and a new week, it seems like Friday's sell-off may not be just an end, because we've actually seen a weaker global handover. On Friday, we did see steep losses across the Wall Street. This was after the US jobs report has not given any clear indication, with the markets have actually dragged because they are again anticipating how much and whether the rate cuts will happen, as is being anticipated in the September meeting, that is on September 17th and 18th. Good morning to all our viewers and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the start of a fresh week, and bulls on Dalal Street are on the back foot. There are many reasons for this. Among them, first and foremost, is the very sharp rally that we've already seen working very well on the markets. As usual, let's begin with our daily dose of the Nifty chart. It's right there in front of you. Friday was painful. Monday looks equally bad. 292 points lower, 24,852 for you. This is how the Nifty shut shop on last week. It actually sold off somewhere like 1.5% in all of last week. Overall, the loss was 383 points. As Sakshi has mentioned, it's also snapped a 4-week rally, which was worth 1,440 points, and that itself is a move from a low of 23,890 to a high of 25,330. Now this rally needs to be digested. Out of 1,440 points, about 383 have been taken back by the market. Let's now look at it in a lot of detail as well. Cues coming in from Wall Street are, let's just say, terrible. I'll request the PCR to fire the chart of the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has slipped almost 7% in trade all of last week, and is now very close to its 200-day moving average, which is at 18,050. The Nasdaq itself has closed at 18,400. If it's as close to the 200 EMA as it is now, then it's most likely that it will also test it. Now, what is the cause of this weakness? Well, on September 15th and 17th, it's the US Federal Reserve that is going to meet, and chances are that there will be a rate cut. Most chances are that it will be a 25 basis points cut, and a lot of data from the US economy points to a cooling of the economy. People are hoping that it will be a 50 basis point cut, but most likely 25 definitely. That's already priced in, and that's the reason why you see this profit booking ahead of the event. So that weakness is creeping into the Dalal Street as well. The Nifty on Friday closed below its 21-day exponential moving average. That essentially means that the bulls have lost short-term power and are now looking to sort of buttress their strength at around somewhere like 25,800, 25,700. Let's see how it goes. But let's also look at 2 or 3 very important factors. You have 3 IPOs opening, which essentially means that money from the secondary markets will be pushed into primary markets. The biggest of them all, Bajaj Holdings, opens today, 6,500 crore rupee IPO, which will be priced at a very lucrative 66 to 70 rupees. So all retail investors are most likely to gravitate towards that. Apart from Bajaj Holding, there are 2 other IPOs Cross Limited and Tylon Tires. Both of them open for subscription today. So the entire focus of the market will be on the primary IPO part, and we've seen a stunning listing of Premier Energies last week, which essentially means that a lot of hopes and expectations are built into the IPO market. Now, what else is interesting? It's the foreign institutional selling on the index futures. In the last 3 sessions, they've sold somewhere like 5,110 crores worth of index futures. That has added a negative sentiment on the Nifty. So 4 weeks of close on the positive that got snapped. In all, 28 sessions of gains, and now a bit of a back foot. Similarly, you will see some kind of weakness creeping into GIFT Nifty. It's just 0.25%, nothing to be worried about. But my suggestion is that you look for stocks such as Hindustan Unilever. I'll request the PCR to fire that chart. You have Hindustan Unilever hitting a record high on Friday. The FMCG space runs when the overall market is bearish, so defensive counters come into the fore. Hindustan Unilever's parent, Unilever PLC, is also planning to sell its ice cream business globally. That will also impact the Indian market. The sales of the ice cream business were 1,800 crore rupees in FY24. That's 3% of overall sales. So keep that potential transaction in mind when you look at Hindustan Unilever, and at the same time look at how selling pressure has seen on State Bank of India. These two charts should be seen in contrast with each other. Very strong gains on defensive counters, Hindustan Unilever, and very strong selling pressure on counters like SBI. It is also approaching its 200-day DMA. Pharma stocks will be in action because of the US FDA observation on 2 companies, Granules and Suven Pharma. Both of them are at record highs. You just might see some profit booking. And the most important macro data for today, ladies and gentlemen, is the council meeting for the GST, the 53rd meeting of the GST Council, that will look upon rates that are on healthcare insurance. So keep an eye out on HDF Life, Pro ICICI Life, counters such as Star Health, MediAssist, because the GST on such insurance numbers are 18%. There is chance that this will be reduced substantially, as also gaping companies. Apart from that, IIP and CIP numbers will be, CPI numbers will be coming in for this week as far as the market is concerned. So it's a heavy macro, heavy IPO day or week, for instance, and that's the reason why the Nifty is likely to be on the back foot. Sakshi, we've seen very, very heavy selling pressure coming on Wall Street. What were the reasons, and what was the Wall Street close on Friday?
Well, absolutely, Shail. So just like how I also pointed out that the US jobs data was not decisive, markets hope to get clarity on whether Fed would start that cut. US jobs additions was weak at 142,000, but unemployment rate also fell to about 4.2%. The S&P 500 posted its worst week since March of 2023. Nasdaq had its worst week in 2 years, and Dow Jones also declined by 3% for the week. On Friday, we did see a cut of 1% on Dow Jones, a 2.5% cut on Nasdaq, and a 1.7% fall on the S&P 500 as well. The US 10-year yield unchanged at 3.72%, and we've seen the dollar index just about marginally higher by 0.14% to 101.19. Brent crude oil was down by 1.6% at $71.5 a barrel as well. And following this, what we've seen is that the shares in the Asian markets have also slipped on the worries about a possible economic downturn in the US that has put sluggish trends across Wall Street, while dragging bond yields and commodity prices lower, as investors have also avoided riskier assets for safer harbors as well. We've seen the Nikkei dip about 1.8% in the early morning trading session, Kospi down by 1.2%, Hang Seng by 1.7%, and the SSE composite by 0.7% of a fall is what we've seen. Although the GIFT Nifty is indicating a positive start, let's see whether that sustains at 24,844. Although it's down from the last closing levels of 24,852, it's just a marginal uptick from what the initial trends were indicating today as well. So that's as far as the gift nifty trends are concerned. So we could be looking at a mild opening today. Overseas investors stayed net sellers for the Indian equity markets for the second consecutive day. They have offloaded stocks worth about 688.7 crores. Domestic institutional investors have stayed buyers for the fifth consecutive session. They purchased stocks worth about 2,121 odd crore rupees as well. And beyond this, we are going to be keeping a keen eye out on all the stocks. Ola Electric will be in focus. The 1 month share lock-in period ends here. So Monday will mark exactly 1 month to Ola Electric's listing. And after the shareholder lock-in for 1 month ends, as many as 18.18 crore shares of the company, or 4% of the outstanding equity, could also become eligible for trading as brokerage houses. Now, apart from this, Jio Financial Services is another one I'm keeping a keen eye out on. The company, along with BlackRock Advisors Singapore Limited, have incorporated JV company named Jio BlackRock Investment Advisors Private Limited to carry out the primary business of investment advisory services subject to regulatory approvals. SpiceJet will be in focus. The company's promoter, as per reports, Ajay Singh, may offload up to 15% stake in the airline as part of the funding round. The airline is looking to raise 3,200 crores via QIP warrants, promoter infusion, and the company plans to now utilize the fund for debt cuts as well. Remember, that is news-based, reports-based news that we've got. Adani Group will be in focus. The group has established Adani Energy Solutions Shanghai company in Shanghai to provide supply chain solutions and project management services in the country. So keep an eye out on the group as well as on Adani Energy. PNB Housing Finance will be in focus. The company is now planning to raise $125 million through external commercial borrowing, or ECBs, in Q3 of FY25. Keep an eye out on that. Deep Industries will be in focus. The company has secured a 1,400 crore order from ONGC. Suzlon will be in focus. It's acquired a 51% stake in Renom for 400 crores, making it a subsidiary of Suzlon Energy. From the shipbuilder space, Mazagon Dock is something I'm keeping a keen eye out on. It's been awarded the pipeline replacement project from ONGC on an EPC reimburse basis worth 1486 crores, and the order needs to be executed by February of 2026. Now, Godfrey Phillips will be in focus. Beena Modi has been reappointed as a managing director, as 86.6% shareholders have voted in her support. On her half of the 48% shareholding of KK Modi Family Trust is something that we've got to know. Granules and Suven Pharma already highlighted by Shell, so not repeating that one. So those are some of the other stocks that we need to keep an eye out on. And of course, from the primary market space, we are going to be keeping a keen eye out on Bajaj Housing Finance IPO. So that's going to be another one that you need to clearly watch out for. Shell.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's pay a little more attention on how the markets fared as far as last week was concerned. Two important developments to my mind need to be kept in mind. One is this IPO, and in particular Bajaj Finance. I'll request the PCR to please share that chart of Bajaj Finance as far as markets are concerned. You'll see a very interesting development. If you look at the monthly picture of Bajaj Finance, this is one of the top performing stocks for a very simple reason, that it's the parent that's selling shares into Bajaj Housing, and that itself is an inflow of a substantial amount of money. But what is really more interesting is that Bajaj Finance has been a relative underperformer when you look at the month to date or year to date gains as far as the counter is concerned. Bajaj Finance, if you look at the year to date performance, is actually down. It's flat at a time when the Nifty itself has appreciated 15-18%. So this trigger that is coming in from Bajaj Housing IPO is something that is positive as far as Bajaj Finance is concerned. And if you look at the last 1 week, 2 week picture, Bajaj Finance has actually appreciated quite well. From a low of 6,600 rupees, the counter has now closed on Friday at 7,117. So these are a couple of charts that need your attention as far as markets are concerned. We'll also wait for Mr. Amar Singh to log in. He's the Senior Vice President for Research at Angel One, and this is something that I'm looking at. I'm just wondering if the PCR has prepared that image of the big bull that has been installed on the National Stock Exchange. PCR, I'm just checking if it is ready. Well, it's going to take time. Nevertheless, there has been an installation of a bull on September 6th, 2024 on the National Stock Exchange, similar to the bull that was installed on the Bombay Stock Exchange in January of 2008. Now that has triggered or did trigger a very sharp sell-off in the markets, and a lot of people are now apprehensive that a similar sell-off will now happen on Indian equity markets. The sell-off in January 2008 was so severe that 15-20 days after installing the bull, there was a protest from a lot of investors that the bull be removed. In fact, the Bombay Stock Exchange then consulted a Vastu expert and got the direction of the bull changed. Be that as it may, a similar thing has happened on the National Stock Exchange on 6th of September, and this bull has been installed. Would you believe it? When did the correction start? On 5th of September. So this, ladies and gentlemen, are the beautiful things that you hear only on Business Today, and this is something to be noted. Did the installation of the bull trigger a correction, or the correction was on its way and the poor bull is now being blamed? Be that as it may, we'll be tracking both the Nifty and the broader markets, and this is just the right time to say hello to Mr. Amar Singh. Namaste Amarji, a very warm welcome to you. A fresh start of the week as far as the Lal Street is concerned, and there is a bull on the National Stock Exchange. Were you in the market in 2008 when the bull on the BSE was installed and there was a heavy selling pressure? Mr. Singh, this is Shail here and Sakshi. Can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, how's the mood on Dalal Street after the bull was installed on the National Stock Exchange? A similar event happened in 2008 of January when a similar bull was installed on the BSE. Were you in the market then?
I don't think we should read too much into that, but because it's a good initiative that has been taken by the exchange, because ultimately we all need to be bullish and optimistic in life and in markets. And if you look at the markets, definitely there is turbulence right now, no doubt about it, because the US jobs data also which came in, and there are certain voices in the US, very powerful voices, and I would say experts who've been talking about recession hitting the US in 2025, and also the who's going to be the next US president, because that's going to play a very important role on not only the US economy but global economy in terms of I would say tariffs, tariff hikes, and all that. So it could have impact, but for us overall it would be good either ways. So having said that, see, we have to understand that the current markets are being driven to a very great extent by liquidity, and also the way the markets are right now. Any I would say negative news is being shrugged off, and also crude oil prices cooling off. That has been a positive concern. We have to see whether that stays sub 70, 75 zone, or whether it moves back to higher levels. Having said that, I would say there are not many triggers right now except the US Fed Reserve. Only question is whether it's going 25 basis points, 50 basis points, and how are they going to take it forward? Because now there's definitely a lot of pressure on the US Federal Reserve, and also there's a lot of talk that the US Federal Reserve might actually be a little late in terms of rate cut. Because the jobs data continuously has not been very positive in the US and doesn't appear to get resolved anytime soon. So that's one of the major concerns. Inflation definitely has come off, so that's a positive there. But we'll have to wait and watch. But yes, these markets at the current levels are wherein you need to tighten your seatbelt, no doubt about it. Don't be a cowboy in the market. You have to be, I would say, slightly cautious, definitely, and look out for opportunities, because a lot of stocks are trading at a significant valuation. So that definitely is a cause of concern for a fresh entry in the market.
Amarji, a warm welcome. Good morning to you. Would you rather be looking at the primary market space than secondary market space this week? We are seeing 3-4 IPOs that will be opening up. The one that we are going to be, of course, all of us are keeping a keen eye out on is the Bajaj Housing Finance IPO, the biggest of them all. How would you be really looking at this one as an opportunity for investors in the wake of volatility in secondary market like you've pointed out?
We have to understand that both the primary market, that is the IPO market, and the secondary market, they are very much linked. And we'll find that the IPOs generally vanish when the sentiments turn bearish for some time. And when the markets appear to be generally bullish and the sentiment is positive, we see a slew of IPOs coming because the promoters and the companies are also of the view that they might get better valuations. Having said that, yeah, you rightly said that Bajaj IPO is definitely one should keep a close watch on. And I would say that one should not look at it from a short-term perspective, rather look at it from a long-term perspective because generally there is a tendency to book profits. So the urge to book profits is significantly higher. I would say twice the urge to book loss. So those, excuse me. So those who have a long-term view or those who want to really take it to the next logical conclusion, they should ideally hold on to these stocks because if you have to understand that, yeah, markets are trading at significant highs. We are seeing valuations there. But if you look at from a long-term perspective, these are stocks which one can have in one's portfolio. And also these are stocks wherein one can add also because it's not that the stock is not going to come down from the price where the IPO is being listed. Someday or other, it's going to crack from there as well. But again, based on the fundamentals of the company. So primarily, we have to look at two things, how the company has been performing quarter on quarter in terms of the management expectations and the management delivery one. Secondly, in terms of the overall growth of the company vis-a-vis its peers, competition, how that's happening, and what's the opportunity potential in terms of the big pie where the company could really take place. So housing is a sector that has got, I would say, at least a 10x potential from the current levels. But that could take some time. So companies which really are very strong on corporate governance, which are very strong on delivery and execution, and which are able to capitalize and mobilize funds at a reasonable cost, they have a better chance. Bajaj Group as a whole have demonstrated for many decades that they are there as long-term players and they are there to stay. So coming from their stable, this is one stock one can definitely look at, but more from a long-term perspective.
Right, we'll be doing a detailed analysis of the Bajaj Housing IPO. Remember, this is the first instance in 3 decades that from the house of Bajaj that there is an IPO offering, and more importantly, for decades altogether, there hasn't even been a hint of a scam that has publicly unfolded on the Bajaj Group. So it's a rare event and maybe an opportunity for long-term shareholders in the IPO market to look at a quality stock available at a very reasonable price. At the same time, I'd also like to mention 2 stocks, LIC Housing Finance and PNB Housing Finance. The rub-off on these two because of Bajaj Housing will be phenomenal, and if you look at the valuations in particular of LIC Housing Finance in terms of price to book and price to earnings ratios, it's phenomenally juicy compared with the kind of moves that you've seen on other stocks, in particular PNB Housing. So keep an eye out on these two. Amarji, over the last 1 week or so, the markets have corrected substantially in several sectors. Have any of the stocks that are on your buy list reached attractive buying levels? If 1 or 2 you can name, that will be wonderful for our viewers.
If you look at the sectors, there have been definitely sectors have some of the sectors have been outperformers. If you look at the pharma space, pharma has been doing exceptionally well. Some of the stocks in the IT space have also performed exceedingly well, and FMCG also some stocks have done exceedingly well. So I would say that pharma is one area because we are seeing a lot of action happening in the pharma space and also some positive sentiments and positive, not sentiments, I would say likelihood of positive developments from the US. Which could benefit India, and Indian pharmaceutical companies. I think that's where the major play is going to be. how our pharmaceutical companies are able to leverage and benefit out of that. So having said that, there are certain stocks which are definitely one can keep a close watch on. Companies again, like Dr. Reddy's on any significant corrections. Piramal Pharma is also one stock one can keep a close watch on. I've been talking about for quite some time. The stock has rallied almost 20-30% from those levels. So that's also from a long-term perspective one needs to understand. But at the current levels, one has to be very clear whether you're trading or whether you're investing, or what is the plan that you have in mind. Because generally, if you're investing at the current levels, then you have to have patience, and also you should have sufficient money that in case you want to average it out if the market does correct. Because markets overall, not only our markets as well as global markets, the best thing is that despite the corrections, markets are showing a tendency of a pullback. So the only question is how long does that sustain? That's the key question. So having said that, these are sectors which one can look at. So the stocks which I've talked about. So they are the stocks that one can keep a close watch on.
Coming in the pre-open, the Nifty is on a back foot. It had opened dramatically lower, but obviously some improvement. Now 88 points down as far as markets are concerned in the beginning. This will improve for the better, I'm pretty sure. What's hurting the Nifty most, and I'm really surprised, it's Bajaj Finance. 100 rupees lower, 72.20. This probably could be a move to book profit because the stock has rallied about 10-12% in the last 3 weeks alone. Now what is in the green, which is very important? HDFC Bank, 4 rupees higher, 16.41. You have a strong move coming into Infosys. Remember, there's a JP Morgan report that has come on mid-cap IT. Of course, Infosys is large cap. Nevertheless, 2% up, 1939. Lever, fresh record high. Please keep this stock in mind. We had marked it repeatedly on Friday. 20 rupees higher, 28.59. Is this the beginning of a new trend ahead of festivities? Only time will tell, but this is something that you need to look at. Reliance, 16 rupees higher, 29.46. This is really good. The Nifty is now a modest 17 points lower. Let's hope it moves towards the green. So Infosys and Reliance and HDFC Bank are in the green, ladies and gentlemen. These are 3 of the top 4 super index heavyweights. What is in the red? Banks. ICICI Bank tripping 27 points lower, 1181. What is Axis doing? Flat at 1158. We'll wait for the market to settle here. Let's look at the gainers in the most active list. Any name I would like to point out? Shriram Finance, 1.1% higher, 32.72. Sakshi will give you a report on Shriram Finance. One of the major foreign institutional brokerages have upgraded this stock because of merger benefits. Eris Life Sciences, ladies and gentlemen, 5.3% higher. This is amongst the most active counters and is gaining. Masgaon Dock, very important, 2.2% higher. ONGC gives a 1400 rupee contract to Masgaon. Let us see whether this selling, this attracts fresh selling or you see some change in sentiment. 44.99 for you. Rainbow Children's Medical Limited, 2.4% higher, 13.10. We rarely talk about this stock. There is a strong move coming into insurance plays. That's what I had highlighted. Keep an eye out on Star Health, 2.1% higher, 649. Remember, this is still below its IPO price, and this is backed from the house of Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Okay, anything else that catches my attention on the long side? We'll wait for the market to settle. We'll get Mr. Singh into the conversation. Amarji, a very strong move has already happened into stocks like Pru, ICICI Life, ICICI General Insurance, HDFC Life, all of them at record highs. This GST Council meeting to be held today may cut the GST, which is 18% on insurance costs, down to maybe 5%. How do you view this potential development, and any favorites here?
Yeah, I would say that definitely we've seen some very good traction in the insurance space. HDFC Life has been a distinct performer out there. It did consolidate and then again moved higher. And also, if you look at the other some of the other insurance companies like ICICI, if I look at ICICI Lombard General, that is comparatively far stronger as compared to HDFC Life. So I would say that currently it's trading at record highs. So if you look at last week, the stock was up by almost 5-6%. And if we look at the stock isn't showing any signs of pullback. But this is one can keep a close watch. See, you have to understand that from a long-term perspective, these are companies where one can definitely invest and build a portfolio. But one need not be only in the insurance space. So a couple of stocks like ICICI Lombard could be one of them, or LIC could be. So you have a PSU and a private player, and then but you have to average it out in case the market does correct. It's trading at record highs, but this is one stock which continues to defy, I would say, all laws of gravity and continues its upward trend, because the stock on 4th of June, the election results day, was trading around 1400, 1480. Currently, it's around 2200. So despite the market correction, the stock has not corrected. So that clearly tells me that there is definitely a lot of smart money which is invested in the stock, and they're not letting it come off.
All right. Okay. And as Shail was indicating on Shriram Finance, I'm going to be reading out the report for you. There's this UBS report with a buy call where the targets for Shriram Finance have been increased from 29.15 to 38.50 now. UBS believes the synergy from merger will continue to keep aiding growth going forward from here. The NIM compression is transitory, they believe. They're also believing that the company is accomplishing new segments further, and that will remain a key for growth going forward. Asset quality remains stable. Credit costs guidance is also maintained, and the management expects the CI ratio to improve and remain in the guided range of 26 to 27%. Let's get Amarji to address Shriram Finance. We've actually seen a one-way move on Shriram Finance from the time that it was included in the Nifty, and even before that as well. After some time, there was some kind of a consolidation, and now these positive brokerage house reports, do they actually indicate fresh buying that could be initiated on Shriram Finance, sir?
So if I look at Shriram Finance, definitely Shriram Finance, if you look at the stock, has witnessed a significant rally. So it was in for consolidation, and if you look back, so in June of last year, the stock had really taken off. So because the stock was consolidating and earlier not able to reach the 1500, 1600 zone. So once that was taken out, the stock has been generated more than 100% return. So the stock is definitely strong on the charts. If you look at some of the fundamentals data also, the stock's PE is still reasonable. It's not significantly higher, and the company as such is primarily into the financing business, wherein it has got different lines of business in commercial vehicle financing. So it ties a lot to the overall infrastructure growth and also to the overall pickup in demand for the commercial vehicle segment. So I think that's where it ties very closely. So we'll have to keep a close watch on this company. Definitely strong, but I wouldn't recommend buying at the current levels.
Okay, got it. Let's again look at some of the other pockets, and in fact, we will also be waiting by for Vaishali to join in a bit. But another space that I wanted your sense is Geo Financial Services also, Mr. Singh, and that's as far as the new investment advisors private limited company that they have formed as a JV with BlackRock. Going forward from here, how do you see GeoFin to be trading from here on? 337 currently. It's been buoyant since last week too.
Yeah, I would say GeoFin is basically trying to find a very strong support zone, which is currently around 300 odd levels. So I would say that can be a good level for fresh entry. Currently, it's around 336. It did, if we go back, so it had traded as low as 310 on 6th of August, and from there it had rallied all the way towards 355. Currently, it's around 336. So ideally, as long as it doesn't reach the 300, 310 level, the stock is strong on the charts, technically also, and so that's a level where the risk-reward ratio will be more favorable. Trading below 300 levels, then we could witness some correction in the stock. Otherwise, the stock is more from a trading perspective. So 300 on the downside and 360, 370 on the upside. That's a range which I see for Geo Finance in the short term.
Okay, got it. Let's again look at some of where the markets have settled in the pre-opening trades. 24,823, down about 0.1% odd or so on the Nifty. Most of the sectors could be opening in the red, barring the FMCG index that seems to be opening higher with about 0.2% gains. Media stocks with a positive bias, and PSU banks also flattish with a positive bias. The top movers on the Nifty are Shriram Finance in the pre-open, HUL about 0.5% higher, SBI, Britannia, SBI Life as well, and Larsen and Tubro. These are some of the stocks that could be opening higher in trade. FMCG stocks for you, Amarji, where would you keep your attention on? Would you continue to stay with, say, an HUL which has not done anything for the last 4 years but has suddenly now moved to the highest point or a record high and now is continuing to further inch up? Amarji?
If I look at FMCG space, I've been quite bullish there, and we've seen Colgate Palmolive also doing exceedingly well. Dabur is also trading quite firm, and if I look at HUL, HUL definitely has rallied significantly from almost 2200 levels in April, currently around 2800 trading at its record high. So I would say that one should hold on to HUL. And it needs to, because if you look at it, it's trading at its all-time highs. So now it needs to sustain above the 2800, 2900 for any major rally. It's looking strong on the long-term charts. So one should, those who are long, they can hold on to the positions. Fresh entry at the current levels would be, because I wouldn't recommend at the current levels, but yes, on some correction towards 2700 odd levels, that can be a level for entry. Otherwise, the stock is strong on the charts, but it needs to sustain above the 2800, 2900 level for any major rally on the upside.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get some view on PNB Housing, LIC Housing and GIC Housing. Remember, all housing finance stocks will be in thick demand as far as markets are concerned in today's trade because of the rub over of the Bajaj Housing IPO. I'm just wondering if Vaishali is with us. I think she's about to join in a while. Most of these three stocks have sort of settled in the red in pre-open, but this is obviously going to change. 28 points lower on the Nifty. Sakshi, we'll live with this downtick that you've seen on the Nifty. Let's look at stocks that are in the green. On top of it, Hindustan Unilever, we've marked this fundamentally as well. We are now looking for Vaishali to join us. Maybe she can give a technical view on it. L&T, 9 rupees higher. Bajaj Finance back in the green, now 6.85 rupees higher. Vaishali is with us. Very good morning to you, Vaishali. A very warm welcome. A quick view on Hindustan Unilever. Is this the beginning of a new trend? The counter hit a record high and moved into fresh territory after 4 years of rest.
Very good morning, all of you. Yes, so right now in a market like this, HUL is acting as a defensive. And as you rightly said that, yes, the trend is very strong. We have our technical target open for 2950 from here on. So the view is bullish, and 2800 on a near-term basis acts as a good support for a fresh entry. However, we have seen that the run-up has really taken place. So for newcomers, aggressive traders, I think 2800 should act as a good support for a target of 2950.
Okay. Got it. Well, Vaishali, good morning to you. Good to have you with us. HUL is also be looking at, probably the way future forward for its ice cream business going forward. So that will be another key trigger that we will need to watch out for as to whether the company really wants to demerge it or, what it plans going forward. There are early indications coming in and we need to keep an eye out on HUL with that regard as well. Apart from this, Vaishali, how are you really looking at, the shipbuilder space? space now. We've seen Mazagon Dock see some kind of buoyancy as of last week with new orders coming in. There are further new orders. There is an indication of further 2% uptick coming in on Mazagon. Do you see, things coming back on track for such defense players today in this week?
So most of them, whether it's Cochin Shipyard, Mazgaon Dock, they have a similar pattern occurring. So if we are to talk about Mazgaon Dock individually, I think, it has been consolidating between the level of 4,100 to 4,400. So right now also it is just consolidating. We need a strong run up to come. And I think unless and until this stock, right now we would see a resistance at 4,800, 4,900. So unless and until we see this further run up from 48, 4,900, I would still call it a range bound and a buying opportunity with a favorable risk reward, because below 4,100, it would negate my view.
Ladies and gentlemen, we begin Monday on a slight back foot. The Nifty is in the red, 52 points lower. Bank Nifty 100 points lower. The IT index has shed 181 points, and the Nifty 500, our broadest measure, down 0.3%, 23,414. Now let's look at what the markets are giving to us. Bajaj Finance, 27 rupees higher, 2344. The selling shareholder of Bajaj Housing, which begins its IPO journey in the markets today. Hindustan Unilever taking it away, 1.3%, 14 rupees higher, 2853, fresh record high. Reliance, 2 rupees lower, 2927. Infosys, 7 rupees lower, 1895. And about HDFC Bank, a rupee 35 lower, 1634. How about ICICI Bank? Flat, 4 rupees 60 lower at 1203. So even Stevens, as far as markets are concerned, on the super index heavyweight stride, about 5 top stocks are in the green, but the top index movers, Reliance, ICICI Bank and Infosys, are in the red. The Nifty still 34 points lower. Now let's very quickly look at what the markets are telling us in terms of how prices are moving. Mazgaon Dock 5% higher, 44.55. Is this a false move? Only time will tell. Mostly defense counters are opening higher, then succumbing to profit booking. We'll be very careful on this one. Sakshi, you have a 3% downtick on Zomato at 258. You have a 3% downtick on SBI, 783. Mazgaon is 1.5% higher now, 44.68. What else is in the green? Granules India is slipping 3% lower, 667. Remember, the US FDA has come up with 6 observations on its Hyderabad unit. Hindustan Unilever taking it away, 2863 in the green. A very quick look at the top gainers and top losers. Insurance plays, National Insurance, NIACL, in thick trade, 3% higher, 257. JM Financial, 3% higher, 128. Fluorochem, Gujarat Fluorochem, we had marked this for the last 2 successive days, 1.8% higher, 38.85. Mankind Pharma, GIC Ray, again insurance play, in strength, and Dixon Technologies. These are the stocks that I would like to highlight. But taking it away, ladies and gentlemen, is Hindustan Unilever, 1% higher. Very quickly coming to you, Vaishali, the strength in this counter is fabulous as far as prices are concerned. What would you do? Would you enter at current levels?
In Hindustan Unilever, yes, I would do this. As I mentioned, 2800 would act as my stop loss.
Got it. Let's again look at some of the other pockets. Remember, Deep Industries is one stock I had indicated in the stocks to watch. The company had secured 1,402 odd crores of worth rupees orders from ONGC. The stock has shot up in trade, 11.4% higher at 442. Keep an eye out on that. Then within the broader markets, you're also looking at stocks within the mid-cap IT space in thick trade. Stocks like Megasoft are up 8%. Remember, there was a JP Morgan report on IT where they are overweight on Coforge, on Emphasis, on TCS as well from the large cap IT space as well. Let's get Amarji into the conversation. Amarji, on IT space, which is again showing us some green ticks in an otherwise weaker setup today. How would you be looking at it, and where would you concentrate your focus?
So if you look at the IT space, we are definitely seeing positive. We are definitely seeing positive momentum there in some of the stocks like Infosys is inching higher, but currently we are seeing some sort of consolidation there. Then if I look at some of the other IT stocks, be it TCS, again TCS is witnessing some sort of consolidation. But again, the trend remains positive. But what we are witnessing in IT is that it's now more of profit booking that has setting in the IT space. So the earlier strong trend which was there, now that appears to be wearing off, except for Coforge, where we are seeing still very strong momentum on the charts on the short term as well as the intermediate term trend. Apart from that, I would say most of the other IT stocks, we are witnessing some sort of profit booking or some sort of consolidation.
Okay, Premier Energies, let's look at that stock again, 7% higher at 1167. That's another day where strong move is being continued on this recently listed stock as well. Apart from this, let's also keep an eye out on Ola Electric to see how that stock has also moved. Remember, today the 1 month lock-in period ends, and therefore we are expecting a slew of stocks to be available. 106 right now. It's a 2.5% downtick for Ola Electric. Amarji, how are you looking at these newly listed stocks?
See, these stocks, I would say more you have to see these companies. Actually, these companies would have to really deliver and perform for any meaningful rally in the stocks, because there's a lot of expectations that has been built into these companies. The big question is, are they able to really deliver and meet up to the expectations of the investors? If yes, and that also is not going to happen overnight, that's going to take at least a couple of years to really see that what the management has been talking about, are they really delivering on that? So it's more of, from that perspective, definitely has a lot of opportunity, but walking the talk and actually delivering on the commitment and the promises made is something we'll have to wait and watch for these companies.
Okay, 9:21, ladies and gentlemen, two things are very clear. It's going to be a day which belongs to Hindustan Unilever in particular, FMCG counters in general, pharma also on the green side, and a bit of PSUs, which is NIACL and GIC Ray. These are two government-owned insurers, deeply undervalued when compared with their private sector peers, and are now seeing a fairly decent demand. Where is profit booking coming in? Sakshi, across the board in PSUs, there is absolutely no let-up. SGVN 3% lower, 126. Power Finance Corporation down about 1%. GSFC 2.5% lower, Oil India 2.1% lower, Hindustan Copper 2% lower, and of course manganese ore 2% lower. Across the board you see a very strong bout of profit booking happening. More strength coming into now ICICI Bank in the green. It had opened partly in the red. Now let's look at how volume is performing when it comes to the strength of volume plus how should I say value. Okay, Vaishali, this is coming to you. National Insurance, NIACL, 1.9% higher, 254. Already 55% of 5-day average has happened. What are the charts telling you?
So I would say right now it's just gradually showing some signs of elevation. There's really not much in the trend. But if I were to make a view, I think 240 would act as a support. And if we see the stock moving past 265 and sustaining about that, I think this would get into a trend to look for a target of 280 to 300.
Okay. Three record highs today: Pidilite, Hindustan Unilever, and a company called GLS. Let me find out what that is. But Sakshi, FMCG and FMCG all the way. Let's just look at the broader performance. We are on Monday, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a complete back foot for bulls. Only 517 stocks in the green, compared with 1700 shares in the red. We tracked 19 indices for you. Out of 19, 16 are in the red. The top loser is the Nifty Alpha 50. Small cap index is down 1%. Mid cap index is down 0.5%. The Nifty Mid Cap Select, whose weekly expiry is today, is 0.5% lower. The top performing index, absolutely no doubt there, Nifty FMCG, up 0.33%, 63,404. Sakshi.
Some more stocks within the F&O space, let me highlight for Vaishali. IEX 1.5% higher in trade. How would you look at this power exchange? It's been consistently moving up and it's now trading above 210 odd levels. How would you look at it?
So I think this is pretty much unaffected. There is no volatility in the stock right now. And seeing all the indicators, it shows a lot of strength. So first trading target resistance we would look at is 220. So with today's low also, one can get into a buy, looking for a target of 220 to start with.
Okay, got it. Some more stocks which are actually buzzing are India Mart Intermesh, that's up 2%. Dixon Technologies, remember last week also this stock was buoyant, and another 1.5% up move can be seen in F&O. Balrampur Chini Mills is another one that's moving up 1.2% higher. You have DLF also that's moving up by 1.1%. Let's get Amarji into the conversation. The other space that is gaining some traction is again the paint space, Amarji. Asian Paints is up another 0.5%, and we've been looking at how crude oil prices falling is pushing up this space which use crude as a derivative or a raw material. How would you look at the paint space right now? And of course we are headed into the festive season where the demand seems to be higher for such paint companies too. What will you say?
I would say Asian Paints has broken out of a key zone of resistance. Earlier, it was not able to breach the 3,000 levels per country. It's around almost 3,300 levels. So sustaining above 3,300 level, the company had earlier made the stock earlier had made a high of 3,360. That was in December of 2023. So the stock has a potential to rally to those levels. And looking at the other, I would say paint stocks like Berger Paints. Berger Paints also is witnessing similar sort of up move, but it needs to sustain over the 600, 610 level for any meaningful rally in Berger Paints.
$927, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just focus on the PSU, on the F&O space. Heavy selling pressure, Sakshi, is being seen on stock futures. 150 are in the red as far as the F&O market is concerned. Only 53 futures, stock futures are in the green. Now the numbers changed. 140 in the red and 44 in the green. So ideally this is not a market to sort of take long calls, but probably wait for some kind of selling pressure to abate in the first 10-15 minutes of the market that we see now completely on the back foot. What is providing strength? Undoubtedly it's the FMCG space and the paints space that we've talked about. What's showing signs of weakness? I think it's the auto space. Exide Industries is down 2.4%. Remember, some time ago this was a market favorite, 473. Bharat Forge 1.3% lower, 1533. Power Grid is down. Granules has slipped 3% lower. This is the US FDA impact on the facility that the US drug major has checked for granules and come up with some observations. This is something that you need to look at, and of course in the green, the life insurance space. SBI Life, top gainer, 21 rupees higher, 1925. HDFC Life, 1 rupee higher, 748. Pro ICICI Life, 6 rupees higher, 758. Vaishali, we've discussed the public sector space via NICL. In the private insurer space, is there still some juice left on technical charts as far as these top three are concerned? SBI Life, ICICI Pru, HDFC Life. What would be your favorites?
So I think I am tracking HDFC Life quite closely, and I think it has shown a good run up. So we can see some profit booking emerging right now in these stocks. So I would say yes, some partial profit booking should not be ruled out, because I'm looking at the RSI also, especially on HDFC Life. There is a negative divergence taking place. So I think 700 should be the near term support. So traders with a shorter term horizon should book profits from here.
Okay, got it. Well, another space that seems to be gaining some traction is again the pharma space, which has been an outperformer of the recent run-up in the market. Cipla, Dr. Reddy's are pulling up in trade. Vaishali, do you have any preference within the pharma space? Do you see momentum continuing for this sector?
So according to me, I mean, till last week's reading, what I saw, it was FMCG, pharma and IT, which was still not showing that much of weakness. And pharma also, I mean, just as the day has begun, we were talking about Cipla and all, they are still showing strength. So I think it will be more of a stock specific rather than sector specific. But well, I would be quite worried, because on the whole, Nifty has broken the support, the near term support of 24,800. So that could trigger further selling coming in. So I would say one should be cautiously positive, continue holding with trailing stop losses.
Let's get Amarji also into the conversation. Amarji, pharma space is the best of the rally done and dusted, you feel?
I would say pharma definitely seems to be positive, but overall we are seeing some sort of profit booking now stepping in, be it Sun Pharma, because Sun Pharma, be it Torrent Pharma, because if you look at the long-term charts and the intermediate-term trend for Torrent Pharma or Sun Pharma, they are very strong. There's no doubt about it. But short-term, we are seeing some sort of profit booking happening, and some of the technical indicators, they are in extremely overheated territory. If you look at some of the other pharma spaces like Alchem continues to be stronger even on the short-term charts. So, but at the current levels, entry could be a question of risk-reward ratio not being very favorable. But yes, pharma, as I said, since the long-term structure of these, most of these companies, be it Aurobindo Pharma also, the structure is very, very strong. So any decent correction, it can be a buying opportunity in the stocks.
Right. With that, Amarji, thank you so much for joining us. Very kind of you, sir, to spare your valuable time on Monday morning for our viewers. Have a nice day. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's just look at the Nifty. The developments are not positive at all. 85 points lower at 24,763. What's really painful is that the monthly pivot, which is a very important level for distinguishing whether bulls have strength or bears have strength, has been broken and is now in bear territory. So please keep this in mind. This is not a time to bottom fish on the Nifty. Let it settle. Let the pain seep out. This is going to be a difficult week for secondary markets, because all action is now focused on primary markets, where 3 IPOs are open. The big daddy of them all, Bajaj Housing. There is a tire company called Tylon Tires, and of course Cross Limited. So this is not a month to bottom fish as far as the main indices are concerned, and this will be visible to you with the kind of pain that you are seeing on the advanced decline ratio. When I started the conversation, 517 stocks were in the green. Now only 386 are in the green, compared with 875 in the red. So easily a 1:6 advanced decline ratio favoring bears. The NSE 500, the broadest measure that we have, out of 501 stocks, only 60 stocks are in the green, and 440 in the red. So we've started Monday on a back foot, so we will be very, very careful in terms of taking long calls. It's a time to just sort of wait, enjoy the party that had happened, move some money away from the market into the bank, and perhaps wait for better prices to emerge. Across the board, you have selling pressure in the markets, and that's visible on indices, that's visible on stocks, it's visible across the board. Sakshi.
Some buying coming back onto the heavyweight private banking names like ICICI Bank, a 0.5% of an uptick can be seen on this one. Some gains coming on Federal Bank and HDFC Bank also now back into the green. Vaishali, let's continue as far as the banks are concerned. You know, brokerage houses have come out with a report. Nomura came out with a report on the banks. They believe deposit growth and CASA could see positive fillip from potential easing cycle going forward. They also believe benefits from potential CRR cut could get offset by tighter draft LCR norms, and rate cut could be a sector dampener but will not jump the gun based on the NIMs alone, even though their topics are Kotak, ICICI, SBI and Federal Bank. How would you look at the private banking names right now?
So actually, this is my understanding right now. I think all this while Nifty on the whole has been an outperformer and Bank Nifty has really not participated. So if I were to talk about private sector banks, especially ICICI, have a look in a weak market like this, ICICI still is at the high of the day. And I would say right now seeing Bank Nifty as the sector itself, it's still in the process of making higher bottom. There is not much of a weakness as compared to the other sectors that we are witnessing, especially energy index and so on. So I think maybe the focus could be shifted more on the private banks because I don't see IndusInd Bank or HDFC Bank or Axis Bank having much of a downside from here on. So if there were to be any positive activity to take place, I would definitely think of the banking sector, especially the private sector.
Okay. So that's as far as the banking sector views are concerned. What else is doing well? IT is about 1/10% higher. FMCG is about 1/4% higher in trade, but a very lackluster move across the space. PSE index is actually feeling the brunt. It's the top losing sectoral index today. The public sector enterprises index. All of the stocks here are actually under pressure. Sharp pressure being seen on ONGC, on Oil India, RECPFC, NHPC, you have even NMDC that's down in trade, BHEL that's down in trade. So the PSU stocks are really taking the brunt. Vaishali, how are you looking at the PSU space right now? What would you say here to all the investors who've been heavily invested in this space?
Well, I think, the caution was sounded long back because we saw that reversal coming in, especially PSU banks also, and even some of the stocks like, if we talk about HAL, SAIL, all these were showing some signs of exhaustion and profit booking. Now, if we look at BHEL, BEL, that also is showing some selling pressure. So I would say just stay out right now.
Okay, so that's as far as the PSU stocks.
Sakshi, I think we'll...
Yes, Shail.
We'll pay attention to VA Tech Vabag.
Okay.
This is a company which quietly works in the making of water treatment plants, is an institutional player, and recently on 6th informed its shareholders that it's won an order worth 2,700 crore rupees, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is almost equal to its trailing 12-month number, which is 2,930 crores. This is a quiet mover and is looking good on the charts. Anything that you would like to contribute, Vaishali, to VA Tech Vabag's chart?
I would definitely agree, and I would be a buyer even at these levels. I think every dip, the chart of all periodicities, if you talk about weekly, monthly, all are showing a lot of strength. So even from here on, BTTV shows a lot of promise. I would say 1250 would act as a support, and look for a trading target of around 1500 also. And likewise, my view is similar even for Iron Exchange, EMS. All these stocks should do well in days to come.
Okay, just a note as far as VATech Vabag is concerned, as Vaishali has mentioned, the charts for the medium term look good. Just keep in mind that of VATech Vabag has been muted. Each year the CAGR is just 6.6%. So overall the counter has dramatically underperformed the BSE small cap index, but this is something that you need to look at. There is growth and efficiency that has come into the counter, and given the order size, which is almost equal to its annual turnover of 2,930 crores, please keep this undervalued stock on your radar. I'll share some other data for you. The price to book is 4.35. Price to earnings is 32, and both these parameters on its own comparative basis over a 5-year period are pretty modest. Please keep VATech Vabag on your radar. Sakshi.
Okay, got it. So we'll keep an eye out on that one too. Let's look at some more moves that we can spot in the markets. Tata Consumer Products from the FMCG basket is picking up pace, about 1% higher in trade. You also have realty names coming back into the green, 0.4% of an uptick. So from the lows, we are actually looking at some buying action emerge. Macrotech Developers is up 1.6%. DLF, Godrej Properties, Oberoi Realty, these seem to be in the moves. Even in the F&O space, DLF and Godrej Properties have found some place too. Realty space for you, Vaishali, what should one do here?
It's making an attempt to bounce. So for with short-term horizon, with today's low as stop loss, especially DLF. I mean, DLF also has come to a good support level right now. So I would say 800 should act as a stop loss, and well, just for a trading target, one can look for a target of 840.
Okay, got it. There are some pockets that are seeing some buying action emerge. So apart from FMCG, realty, the Nifty bank has turned green. So you have both private banks and the financial services sector supporting the Nifty bank. IT space is up into the green. Within the financial services, you have Chola Investment that's up by 1.3%. You have, of course, got those life insurance name that Shail has pointed out. The reasons are known. There could be some good news expected out of the GST Council meeting. The meeting will happen at 11 a.m. today. ICICI Pru, SBI Life, HDFC Life, all in the thick of action. You also have Shriram Finance that's moving up, Muthoot Finance that's buzzing, Bajaj Finance is back into the green, about 0.2% higher in trade. NBFCs particularly beyond the banking space, Vaishali, how would you look?
So I think Bajaj Finance is the most focused stock right now. So I would say for near-term purpose, it has already got into a trend. So I think 7200 should act as a support, and one can look for a target of 7450 to start with.
$942, ladies and gentlemen. The most critical number today will be the monthly pivot, which is 24,800, ladies and gentlemen. The Nifty's managed to pull up with a very strong reversal above that. Let's hope that the close today is above 24,800. That would mean two things. One, we would have corrected about 550 points from the peak of 25,333, and of course the monthly pivot would have tested and we would have closed above that. Now, will that happen or not? Only time will tell, but this is something which is a hope that we will see in markets today. Sakshi, it's the housing finance setup which is striking back with great force, and the best stock to look at is PNB Housing. Vaishali, a very quick view on this one. Remember, this is the rub-off of the Bajaj Housing IPO in the market, and of course this is a stock that was highlighted by Mr. Arun Kejriwal on Friday as well. Vaishali, up to you.
So I would say it has already got a good strong trend. So now for near-term basis, 1000 should act as a support. And the way we are looking at this statical presentation, I think it will retest the previous high, that is around 1190. So 1200, that could be the level that one can look for.
Fair point. One more stock I'd like to mark, Britannia, from the FMCG space. I would believe this is again a stock which is heading towards record highs. Britannia has announced a capacity expansion at one of its units, and the stock is now trading a percent higher, 59.23. This is not a high beta counter, Vaishali, but do you see a digit change happening over the next 1 or 2 weeks on Britannia towards 6,000?
So Britannia has expected, has seen a consistent resistance at 5927, 5930. So if these levels, if we see the stock going above and sustaining above, then 6,000 is very likely.
Okay, so that's as far as Britannia is concerned, and definitely it's the top mover on the Nifty, 1.1% higher. The FMCG index itself is 0.5% up, supported by many such stocks, HUL, Britannia, Tata Consumer Products. They're all buzzing in trade. Then you also have banks that are buzzing. They've recovered from the day's low. Consumer durables are the new ones that are now seeing some green return. And stocks like Dixon Technologies is buzzing, 1.3% higher. You have Blue Star, Voltas, Havells and Titan also all buzzing in trade. Vaishali, first up on Dixon Technologies, what will you do? And the rest of the consumer durable space, right ahead of the festive season, what will you do?
So I would say Dixon Technology right now is a level to watch. It's really at a make or break, because right now it's taken support on a cluster of moving average. So if we see the stock going below 12,000 levels, then that could call for some caution. That could see further correction. But from here on, I think if market is sustaining and holding on to these levels, we can see a bounce coming in. But talking about the other stocks, that is Titan and the other gold stocks, I think Titan is doing very well. And the way it is moving, I think we are ready for a target of 3850 to 4,000 levels.
Okay, 3850 to 4,000 levels could be kept on the radar as far as Titan is concerned. Right now at the day's high point, it's 0.05% higher at 36.96. So you have higher targets coming in on Titan from Vaishali. Keep an eye out on that too. Let's look at some of the other pockets. Okay, Trent is returning. You can see about a 0.5% move on Trent now, 7136. This stock has already had a dream run sort to speak. It's been a multi-bagger, but is there some steam still left on Trent? What would you say, Vaishali?
So I think Trent is one of the stocks which has really not launched to correct. I mean, it's just on a one-way trajectory. So I would say right now also, though it is on the overbought zone, but still there is no sign of fatigue. So I would say the brief consolidation that it has witnessed, 6950, that should act as a support, and maybe there is a new round of momentum to set in from here on. So 6950 should be the deciding factor. If we go below, then it's time to exit and maybe look for some corrective moves, but till then it's a hold.
So ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very interesting battle happening on the Nifty. Now 24,839. Remember, the monthly pivot is proving very, very difficult for the bears to break past. There's been a sharp reversal. The Nifty is at 24,843, down just 6 points. Will you see a positive on the Nifty? Let's hope so. Remember, the correction has already been worth 560 points from a high of 25,333 to a low of 24,760. And is this enough? Only time will tell. But a very, very sharp reversal from day's low. What are the stocks that are contributing to this uptick? ICICI Bank now. This is the third highest weighted counter on the Nifty, contributing 17 points in the green, 1217. Vaishali will be looking at its charts. Hindustan Unilever, as I have mentioned, ITC, both stocks contributing 5 points each. TCS and Asian Paints, 4 and 3 points respectively. What is pulling the Nifty down? ONGC, below 300 now. Very, very strong sell-off and profit booking happening across the space on PSU stocks. NTPC, 1.5% lower, 388. SPI. So top 3 losers on the Nifty are actually PSU stocks that are pulling the index lower. To you, Vaishali, as I've always said, you are our lady luck. The Nifty is back in the green. The monthly pivot has held so far. Your view on ICICI Bank?
Well, ICICI Bank, I think it is still a buy because it has been outperforming as far as all the other banks are concerned. And right now, after seeing a good corrective move, I think 1200 should act as a support. And if Bank Nifty were to show conviction and strength, then this will be one of the first stocks that would give an up move. And I think this is ready for a target of 1250 to start with.
Got it. Well, another space, let's get Vaishali to talk about. The gems and the jewelry space is clearly picking up. You talked about Titan as well. The rest of the space has also further picked up momentum. You have TBZ that's pulling up in trade, Moti Sons Jewelers, Radhika Jewelers, all these smaller ones are moving up. Senco Gold, let's pick up that one too. Why I'm interested in asking on Senco Gold is also because the company has now forayed into the lifestyle space with its subsidiary now, looking at even the lab grown diamond space. Clearly there is a 3% uptick on Senco Gold to lifestyle jewelry segment and lab grown diamonds as new additions. How would you look at Senco within the gems and the jewelry space?
So Senco is undoubtedly showing a lot of strength, and I think it's ready after a small consolidation we saw for 3-4 days, and again it's showing a lot of strength. Today it's already up nearly 3%. So I would say continue holding, or one can buy with today's low as stop loss and look for a target of 1260 to start with.
Okay, got it. So that's as far as the gold space is also concerned. So people are not just looking to spend on consumer durables, but also on gold in the upcoming festive season, on paints like we've discussed today, and also people are also looking at planning for holidays in the second half. Travel in the tourism space for you, Vaishali. IHCL is picking up pace. How would you look at this hospitality space that we had initial part of this calendar year and financial year is what we had focused a lot on. Do you think there is further momentum that could be anticipated in the hospitality names like Indian Hotels?
So Indian Hotel actually has got a very good trend, and technically if you look at it, I mean the buy signal had already come much earlier. So we continue to have our positive bias with now as 640 as support, and this could go towards 680 to 700 levels.
$9.51, ladies and gentlemen. Gala Precision will be listed today, and it's settled at 42% premium at 750 rupees on its maiden listing day. Will you believe it? The size of the IPO was 168 crores. The price band was at 529 rupees. A 42% premium, and I want you to hold your breath for the moment. The issue, which was for 168 crores, was subscribed 200 times. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the state of play as far as markets are concerned. Please keep an eye out on Gala Precision. 2 stocks are already doing very well. Premier Energies, that got listed last week Tuesday if I'm not wrong, and it's shown a burst since then. Even today it's the top traded counter on the National Stock Exchange, 1145, 4.5% higher. I am also wanting to see what Style Bazaar is doing. I haven't been able to see the stock price since morning. There is some issue at my end as far as prices are concerned. Sakshi, will you mark Style Bazaar? I don't see it with me.
It's at a 382 odd level, about a 4.3% downtick that can be seen on Bazaar Style Retail
Okay.
IPO.
Okay, not a problem. So we'll keep an eye out on the listing of Gala Precision. Remember, it's a huge uptick for all those people who had who are lucky enough to get such IPOs allotted. And what else is buzzing? I would imagine Deep Industries, which Sakshi is already marked. They have also got a, what was the size of the contract for
1480 crores.
I would believe 1402 contracts.
Yeah.
Yes, 1400 crores via ONGC, and the stock has burst up. Vaishali, gap up, huge volumes. What is Deep telling you?
Well, absolute gap up and sustaining well above. So I guess those who have been lucky to buy at lower levels should continue, and others should wait for a dip because too much of a gap. So I would say wait for a dip. This is showing a lot of strength.
Okay, another very interesting counter, Vaishali, you won't have the long-term charts of it. It was a recently listed counter again, DOMS Industries, which is into the stationery space has a lot of colors and other stationery products as well. A very popular company right there that had got a decent listing. Today the stock is up by about 3.5%. It had shot up about 5% also in trade today, 2713. That's another one that's actually buzzing in trade. You won't have the long-term charts, but Vaishali, do you have any sense that you could share with our viewers here?
I would say 2600 should act as a support for now, and look for a target of 2950 to 3000 levels.
Okay, got it. So that's the kind of expectation that we have. So, okay, I think Gala Precision has settled in the pre-opening levels. About a 36% uptick is what you could expect at 721. We'll keep an eye out on Gala Precision's listing just about 5 minutes from now on. But let's again pull up some of the other stocks that we can take towards the end from Vaishali, a view on right there. India Mart Intermesh, Vaishali, the top mover in the F&O space. How are the charts really looking to you?
So India Mart also, I think, comes as a good defensive stock, and chartically it looks quite fine. I mean, we are seeing the near-term support coming at 2900. For now, there could be a resistance seen at 3200. So one can make a strategy with these levels. And above 3200, I would see even on a weekly chart, it's coming out of the range. So if that happens and if it sustains above 3200, this can go towards 3450.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 9:56, time to sort of start wrapping. And before we let Vaishali go, there is a lot of energy seen in JSW Energy. The counter now breaking out up 4%, actually 5%. Vaishali, have we missed the move, or is it the beginning of a new trend? The previous all-time high was somewhere like 752. Do you see it breached?
I think so, because it has been quite a strong and a steady stock. So I think for now 720 should act as a support, and in all likelihood this can move past even the previous high of 755. Seeing the way the strength is seen, and well, there is no exhaustion even in indicators. So I would say yes, one can buy even now. For the near-term target, of course, 755. A move above that gives us higher targets.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's now start wrapping it up. News-led, NIACL, National Insurance, ahead of the 54th meeting of the GST Council. Insurance stocks, especially health insurance stocks, are in big demand. There is this hope that the excessive GST of 18% on insurance policies taken out for health purposes will be cut dramatically. 1.6 times the value of 5-day average has been traded on NICL, and the counter is doing pretty well. There is a strong move coming onto Narayan Hirdalaya, 2% higher, 1377. 100% of 5-day average has been traded. Metro Brands, this is something that slipped our mind to mark. A very strong block that has happened on this one. Fresh players coming in, 1245 for you, 1% higher. Already 82% of 5-day average has been traded. Which are the stocks that have hit all-time highs? Suven Pharma, Pidilite, Hindustan Unilever and DOMS. DOMS is something that's been marked by Sakshi just now. As also Vaishali, remember, the company has diversified into adult diapers apart from the fabulous business that it already has on the stationery side. Amongst top gainers, ladies and gentlemen, we've just marked JSW Energy. JSW Infra is also doing pretty good, 3% higher, 316. JM Financial well on its way to reclaim previous glory, 2.6% higher, 127. The bulls, ladies and gentlemen, are not making it so easy for the bears. You have a very strong reversal coming into the market. The Nifty for the moment is just 13 points lower. It's tested 24,760 and from then on we've had a 77-point uptick. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Way for Gala Precision's listing. Now it's 9:59 already, and right now the flavor of the market seems to be limited to FMCG. The banks, largely private sector banks, and that to some of them, the heavyweight ones, consumer durables, and some realty stocks that are picking up pace. We'll thank you, Vaishali, on that note, for being with us on this very special edition to share with us all those thoughts and ideas like you have. And we already have the listing of Gala Precision Engineering, and let's make way for the bell to ring in and to see where the listing has taken place for Gala Precision. Remember, this was the issue. The fixed price after the IPO was 529 rupees, and already in the pre-opening trade it was indicating a nearly 40% kind of an uptick for Gala Precision. Let's show the visuals from the NSE right there. So 757 could be looking at where it has settled. Let's look at how the listing is taking place now. Yes, there do you see the visuals from NSE? And the gong will go in just a few seconds, giving us the final update. So the final price that got settled in the pre-IPO pre-listing phase is 757, a 43% uptick from the issue price of 529. We're just waiting by for the bell to ring to give us that final uptick. Remember, the issue was overall subscribed by a bumper 201 times, and we have actually seen a huge demand from the QIP space, as well as the retail space as well. So there you see the bell going further for Gala Precision, and we do have the final number. Just a few seconds, we will get the final update. Shail, do you have the final number? I think 757 is where my screen is frozen.
Yeah, 775.
Okay.
775 rupees, ladies and gentlemen, 246 rupees higher from the IPO price, which is actually a 46% uptick on the subscription price of 529. So a fabulous benefit for all those wonderfully lucky folks who've got this IPO. 168 crores was the size of the offering, out of which 33 was offer of sale and fresh issue was for 135 crore rupees. This was to pay off the debt and to increase capacity expansion. All beautiful ideas, very well supported by the market. Just a 200 times oversubscription, Sakshi, from 168 crores, and that's the reason why you have this blowout happening on Gala Precision. This is a week for posterity as far as IPO markets are concerned. We have Bajaj Housing, Tylon Tires and Cross Limited opening today, and this week you have about 9,000 crore rupees to be raised via 16 IPOs that will be hitting Dalal Street. The biggest daddy of them all, 6,560 crore IPO of Bajaj Housing opens today. Remember, this is a marquee IPO from the house of Bajaj after a 3-decade wait in the primary markets. Equal Stevens, 3,000 crores is fresh issue. 3,650 crores goes back to the parent via offer of sale, which is Bajaj Finance. So it's a wonderful time on Dalal Street. If you get these subscriptions, please hold on to them. Last week seen the mega listing of Premier Energies, which listed at a premium of 120% from its offer price of 450, and from then on it's still more than given a return of 40%. So lovely days on Dalal Street. Sakshi.
Right, viewers, we'll wrap it up at that. Many thanks for being with us on this morning edition of Market Today. The markets are still, softer. If you see a 16-point downtick for the Nifty, 24,835. Volatility is still high, but we'll have to see how the day really pans out and whether more sectors are able to pull the Nifty out of the weakness that we are seeing right now. We'll continue to focus on both the primary and the secondary markets throughout the course of the day. There will be several top market masters who will be advising you on markets. So do stay with us throughout the course of the day on Business Today television.
Revolt breaks out in the BJP over ticket distribution in Haryana. A day after the ruling party released a list of 67 candidates, dropping 7 sitting MLAs, including 3 ministers, several leaders hit out against the leadership. Energy